So what I want to talk about today, guys, is I put in a sump tank in the aquaponics system. Now before that was there, what I had going on was I had my pump right under those, right there in the corner, and the pump would go into the fish tank. From there it would go into the filter, the water would drain it back into the grow bed. That was the system I had going on. But what was going on is that these roots in this jungle over here started to, I could foresee problems happening. The roots are just creeping along closer and closer to where the pump was, and it was only going to be a matter of time before those roots started actually getting into the pump, which would then give me problems with it clogging up. So this is why I added this tank here, because now I have the pump over here. So, and you can see the roots are getting pretty big in there. So I cut another hole into the side of the wall and just duplicated what I have going on over here. So this pipe basically goes almost all the way down to the bottom. I mean, there's a little bit hanging up above the bottom there, but so anyway, it comes over into there, and I had started out using that toad over there as my sump tank. Played around with it for a while and realized that it wasn't going to be big enough, but through the course of doing that, I kind of had an estimate on how many gallons of water I would need. So rough estimates were I needed about 30 gallons of holding space, because if I shut the power off, that's how much would come out. So by fixing one problem, I kind of created another problem, because now that I moved the pump from there to there, if and when the power shuts off, water's going to keep draining until it hits until it gets below the line there, and this is going to have to be big enough to hold what comes out. So rough estimates were 30 gallons. What I ended up doing was I got online to a volume tank calculator and started punching in numbers until I finally came up with 40 gallons for different measurements. So this box here was built to spec to hold 40 gallons. Now I was using just junk wood, so maybe that was part of it, but anyway, at the end of it all, I can only get it to hold 35 gallons. Now, one thing that I've discovered is the actual fill line on a 5-gallon bucket is this line right here. So once I had the box built, I started filling it up, and all I could get was 35 gallons in there. A couple other things I did here was, when I first had that toad over there, I was marking it on inches from the top. So I did it that way when I first tried it, just so I knew that my my water wouldn't get too low to the pump, and then I'd fry the pump. But when I did it the second time with this box, I was measuring gallons. So now I can tell exactly how much the system is consuming by the day. And I also know that based on where this water level is, if the power does go off, I know my my parameters. So what I've got going on here is pretty much these days, you know, we're in the 90s, and from 9 in the morning till about 6 at night, this whole system will go through about 5 gallons of water. So like, I'll leave in the morning and I'll keep it right at 20. That's the sweet spot. I keep it right at 20. I get home in the afternoon and it's usually down to about 15. So the thing though is, I want to keep it at 20, because that's, like I said, that's the equilibrium point. If I keep that water at 20 and let's say the power goes out, which it did the other day, and I got to test it out, it's working good. So the water's at 20, power goes off. Water is gonna keep draining out of here until it gets just below the pipe. Same thing here, because this one's a little lower, so it's gonna keep draining until that one's done. And then we come over here, still gonna keep draining. So basically 15 gallons of water is gonna drain out of this entire system until it stops. And if it's sitting right at that 20 line, by the time it's all said and done with, it'll be sitting right there at 35, just right there, ready to overflow. So anyway, as long as I keep it right there at 20 or just a hair under, I'm good to go, given any problems. This is working good. I knew when I first had set this whole system up that I was probably playing with fire over there. At some point it was gonna get to a point where I needed to move the pump. I kind of knew that going into it, but I just wanted to play around with it, try and keep it simple, because I feel like so many times all these aquaponics systems I see are just so overcomplicated. And anyway, live and learn. I kind of know where my parameters are, so next time I do something like this, which I'm sure there'll be a next time, I'll have a better idea on what I should and should not be doing in regards to pump placement. So anyway, sump tank is working good. It was a smart move, and I like how I can actually see what this system is consuming at this point. So anyway, all is well. Catch you soon.